We're reading from EVERNIGHT, and the chapter today is spell writing. It is the 34th chapter. Wake up, Lara! She had been asleep and warm and comfortable in a bed of packing hay in the hold of the boat until a familiar voice disturbed her. Opening her eyes dreamily, she saw the warm glow of a dragon breath lamp. "Bernie, what's wrong?" "Come with me, love, and put your coat on. It's freezing up there." The air on deck was bitterly cold. The EVERNIGHT sky reached endlessly to Rob Nielsen's boats as Rob Nielsen's boat steamed through the foam-packed waves. Lara pulled her coat tight and shivered as she followed Bernie to a spot near the bow. 88 was sitting on the deck, beside a small, heavy-looking metal cauldron with a fire alive inside it. Lara breathed the scent of burning twigs and leaves. "What's this?" Bernie set her lamp down, reached into one of the many pockets of her witch's coat and brought out a cigar. She lit the cigar in the fire, took a puff, went back into her pockets and produced a leather wallet, a bottle of ink and a quill. Opening the wallet, she took out a square of paper, which she slid across the deck to Lara and offered her the quill. I don't understand." "I said I'd prove you're a witch," said Bernie, blowing smoke rings, "and this is how. You're going to write a spell." Lara leaned back. "A spell? I can't do that." "Take the pen, love." Bernie put the quill in Lara's hand. "Writing spells isn't about how many textbooks you've read. It's about feeling, Lara. It's about listening to what's inside you. But only a true witch can do it. Now, I'd like you to try making a light spell. It's a good one to start with in these circumstances." Lara looked at the quill in her hand and then at 88. "But how?" 88 shrugged. "I've only ever written one spell, and that came out of a book. I wasn't allowed to try anything else. I'm learning, same as you." Bernie motioned to the cauldron. "The thing about spells, my loves, is they're different for everyone. A spell is like, well, I suppose it's like a recipe for a chocolate cake. Everyone has their own version of what it might be, their own flourishes and ingredients, and no two will ever be the same. Think about light. Think about what it means to you, how it makes you feel. That's the first thing. What's the first thing light makes you think of?" Lara considered this. "Warmth." "Good. Put that down on the paper as best you can, but use symbols instead of words." Slowly, Lara lowered the quill to the paper and drew a simple, unmistakable image. The sun. "What else does light make you feel?" asked Bernie. Lara's mind travelled back to the sewers under King's Haven, to the moment she would climb back to the surface and open the manhole cover, and she'd feel the relief at being back in the daylight. "Safe," she said. "Light makes me feel safe." Again, she touched the nib of the paper, this time drawing a simple little house and a stick person inside that house. "Good. Now try a couple more. When it's done, you'll feel it." "What else does light mean to me?" thought Lara. "Life. Life, it means life." She drew a flower. "And colour. But how do I draw that? Oh, I know." She drew an eye, and then she looked at the paper at the symbols she had drawn. They made perfect sense to her. "I think I'm done." "All right, love. Now, I want you to take that paper and put it in the cauldron." "Into the fire?" said Lara. "Why?" "You'll see." Lara lifted the paper and dropped it into the flames. She watched it catch. Bernie leaned in. "Now, I want you to say these words." She whispered into Lara's ear and then sat back as Lara began to speak. "Born of mind, born of fire, born of Mother Earth's desire. Use it wisely, use it well. My heart, my blood, my gift, my spell." And then As the paper blackened and turned to ash, the flames in the metal cauldron changed colour, from orange to dazzling new coin in the sun gold, and coils of glowing smoke drifted from the bowl. At the same time, Lara's head filled with the twinkling, musical sound she'd heard in Bernie's shop. Lara snapped her head up, staring in amazement at Bernie. The older witch stared back, wide-eyed. She let out a triumphant laugh and punched the air. "Ha! I told you, girl!" Hurriedly, she brought out a tiny glass bottle, pulled the stopper, and held it up to the smoke. Whispers of the glowing smoke drifted into the bottle, and when it was full, Bernie popped the stopper back in and, grabbing her wand, loading Lara's spell into the revolver chamber. She stood up, held out the wand, and gave Lara a hopeful look. Then she squeezed the trigger on her wand. A flare of warm golden light erupted at the tip. "Ha-ha! It worked! Look, Lara! Ha! Look, love!" Lara was so stunned, so utterly flabbergasted, that she could do nothing but stare as Bernie waved the wand around whilst dancing a jig. Then the old witch put the spell out and hugged Lara tight. "Told you," said Double Eight with a smile. "I did it," said Lara. "I actually did it. I made magic." "You did, girl, you did." Lara felt her locket buzzing hard against her chest, and she reached into her clothes and brought it out, holding it in her open palm. "I am a witch," she whispered. The clockwork bird had been nestling in her pocket as usual, and now he popped up, hopping onto Lara's palm, and gave the locket a peck as it buzzed more intensely than ever. "Bernie, if I'm a witch, does that mean my mum and dad, were they witches too?" "Your mother was, for sure, Lara. Magic's always passed down from mother to child, see?" Lara tucked the necklace back under her shirt, and the clockwork bird took off and flew a few times around the boat before landing on her shoulder. She barely noticed him. Her mind was far away, wondering about her parents, knowing that the magic in her blood had come from her mum. It was Double Eight's turn to try the spell now, and Lara watched with great interest as the witch boy drew his own symbols with trembling hands. It was amazing to her, and sad too, to think that he had not been allowed to explore magic before, to test his gift. Here he was, no better off in his knowledge than she, and it showed in his nerves and the shaky, clumsy drawings he made. "Don't we have to add anything else?" Double Eight asked when he'd completed his sketches. "How do you mean?" said Bernie. "Well, in the factories, there'd always ingredients to add to the drawings." "Oh," said Bernie. "Yes, of course you'd be used to that. Mrs. Hester has her white witches use ingredients because they don't have souls. The soul, you see, well, I suppose it acts as a lightning rod for magic, attracting it, focusing it in one place. Without a soul, a white witch still has her magic in her, but it's weak. Hester's recipes use physical ingredients to make up for that. I guess it works in its way, but every single spell that comes out of those factories is a pale imitation of a spell made using imagination and wonder and soul. See for yourself now." Double Eight completed the spell. Lara could tell he wasn't at all confident, but when Bernie took Double Eight's spell and fired it from her wand, the flare of light was so bright it filled Lara's vision, and she cowered back at the ferocity of it. "Hell's teeth!" yelled Bernie, shaking the spell out. "That's what I call a light spell." Double Eight stood gawping at the wand. He was trembling a little, and his breath was coming in short puffs of fog. "I did that." "Yes, boy, you did that." He looked at Bernie and smiled, and his eyes were bright and alive. "Real wild magic. I always imagined—" "Can I do some more?" "One step at a time," said Bernie, and the way she looked at Double Eight with satisfaction and curiosity and fondness made Lara quite jealous. "So what now?" she said. "Will someone teach us how to be proper witches? Do we get wands?" "We'll get to Westerly Witch and take it from there." Lara imagined herself with her own wand and cauldron, creating powerful spells, and the thought of it was exciting and thrilling. A wild, echoing call drifted down from high above. "Look!" Double Eight was pointing to the sky in the west, where 6 gigantic winged creatures of light were thundering eastward. They left trails of shimmering sparks behind them as they flew, and Lara became unaccountably emotional at the sight of them. Her eyes leaked tears, and her chest rose and fell. The wondrous blazing shapes moved across the heavens at unimaginable speed, and the beat of their great wings was the sound of faraway thunder. "Bernie!" Lara rushed to the old witch's side, as she had weakened and was holding onto the side of the boat for support. "It's the council." Bernie's eyes followed the light. "The High Witch is flying to face the EVERNIGHT." Lara saw that Bernie was crying too. She took her hand and squeezed as the 3 witches stood at the bow of the ship and watched the souls of the Witch Council disappear over the horizon.